Welcome everyone to Fruits of the Orchard. Tonight we're learning Parshat Vayelech. It's actually the shortest parsha in the Torah. That doesn't take away from the quality. Much of the parsha is an introduction to the next parsha, which is Ha'azinu. Ha'azinu is one of the 10 archetypal songs, according to Jewish tradition, that appear throughout history. And at the end of Parshat Vayelech, so God tells Moshe the importance of this song and how he needs to teach it to Am Yisrael, and they have to learn it very, very well. So there's a very, very interesting idea that comes from here. And that is that when God says to Moshe, write down the song and teach it to the children of Israel, that they should learn it very well. So it seems that this directive is about the song Ha'azinu in the following parsha. But the sages learn that really what is being said here is not just write down the song of Ha'azinu, but it applies to the whole Torah. The idea of writing down the whole Torah and teaching it to the people. And interestingly enough, of the 613 mitzvot in the Torah, this is the last of the 613 mitzvot. And that is to each individual to write a Sefer Torah. But the sages understood that that was somewhat impractical. So the idea is to at least participate in the writing of a Sefer Torah. But what comes out of this is an amazing thing, because God says, write down this song. And the sages learned that this song is the whole Torah. The whole Torah is called a song. So this is just a beautiful idea in of itself. And Rabbi Akiva in the Gemara, in a discussion about how do you remember everything that you learn? And all kinds of different devices. So Rabbi Akiva said, sing your Torah every day. Sing your Torah every day. Now, as he was saying, like in a practical way, if you sing your Torah, you will remember it. So if anyone, it's not exclusive to Israel. It could be in any city where there's a Jewish community. But let's say in Jerusalem, on a ordinary day, and you walk down the street and you're going to be passing schools, you will hear the children singing the Torah. The way that it's taught traditionally is, especially when they learn Chumash, the 5 books of Moses, they learn to sing it in a like we'll call it a sing-song chant. And this enlivens the Torah. So the whole Torah is called song. The article that I want to share with you is that we see a very, very interesting thing here. A very interesting thing about Moshe Rabbeinu. We tend to think of Moshe Rabbeinu, as it says, Rabbeinu, our teacher, our Rebbe, and we, in relation, especially to Aharon, Aaron was very approachable. He made peace between people. And Moshe seemed, again, we're just talking about on the we'll call it the superficial level, was this great prophet who speaks face to face with God and is on Mount Sinai for 40 days and leads the people. And and his face is shining in a way that people can't even look at him. He has to cover his face. So the picture of Moshe is he's unapproachable. He's like too awesome. But there's another part of Moshe that we usually don't focus on, and that's the connection of Moshe with song, with music. So I'm going to go through this idea and we'll see it more clearly. So here we see in our parsha of Vayelech that Moshe is, at God's command, is going to teach all of Israel this song. So it's Moshe who is singing this song of Ha'azinu. And even though we read it, or if we read it with what's called the trup, with the Torah musical notes, so we do sing it, but it's a song. It's one of the 10 archetypal songs. So Moshe Rabbeinu is singing the song of Ha'azinu. What other song is Moshe singing? When we cross the Red Sea, the song of the sea, which is included in our prayers every day. And there, Moshe is leading all of Israel in this exalted song. And we're told in the Midrash that what the people experienced after the crossing of the sea and the inspiration to sing this song was greater than even the prophet Ezekiel. When Ezekiel saw what is called the workings of the chariot, Ma'aseh Merkavah, what everyone experienced was on a higher level than that. So here we see Moshe's involved in 2 songs, but Moshe's actually involved in a 3rd song, and that is what's called the Song of the Well. And this is in the book of Bamidbar, and the words are just 2 short verses, and it says this is when very connected to after Miriam dies and the water disappears, but then it comes back. And so it says, then Israel sang this song, spring up, O well, announce it. It is the well the princes dug out, that the nobles of the people excavated, through a lawgiver with their staff. Who is a lawgiver? Moshe. And this is hinting to when he hit the rock back in the book of Exodus and brought forth water for them. So Moshe, they're singing about Moshe. And so Moshe is in a sense the subject of this song. So now we have Moshe connected to 3 of the 10 archetypal songs, but there's more. One of the archetypal songs is sung by Yehoshua. When did Yehoshua sing? This is when they were fighting their enemies, and it was getting to be afternoon, and Israel needed more time to finish the war successfully. And so here it says like this. This is in the book of Yoshua. Then Yoshua spoke to God on the day when God had delivered up the Amori before the children of Israel. And he said in the sight of Israel, this is what Yeshua did so they could win the war. Sun, stand still in Givon and moon in the valley of Ayalon. And the sun stood still, and the moon stayed until the people had avenged themselves upon their enemies. So the sun stood still in the middle of the sky and hastened not to go down for a whole day. And there was no day before this or after it that God hearkened to the voice of a man in this way. That's in the book of Yoshua. So what does this have to do with song? So the sages revealed, how did Yoshua stop the sun and the moon? And they say Yoshua sang the song of the sun and sang the song of the moon, like we have in Perek Shira. In Perek Shira, where each of 70 archetypal creations sing a song. That's their animating energy. So the sun has a song and the moon has a song, and through their song is how the energy of the sun is manifest. So Yoshua sang the song of the sun and of the moon, and he was able, however we understand this, he was able to stop the sun and the moon, and they were able to finish the war successfully. So the question is, where did Yoshua learn the song of the sun and the moon? So we're told from Moshe Rabbeinu. Moshe Rabbeinu taught him the song. How did Moshe know it? Because if you remember the battle with Amalek, when we first come out of Egypt, so Amalek, our arch enemy, attacks us from behind. And there was a war. And actually, God sent Yoshua to lead the war. And Moshe went up on the hill, and he had his hands lifted in prayer. And Aharon and Hur helped hold up his hands in prayer. And tradition tells us that Moshe stopped the sun and the moon, even though it doesn't say it in the text, that in that war with Amalek, he stopped the sun and the moon, and he did it through singing the song of the sun and the moon, and he taught it over to Yoshua. And that's how Yoshua knew. Now we have 4 songs connected to Moshe Rabbeinu, but we have one more. And we're told of the 10 archetypal songs that are sung in history, only 9 of them have been sung. And the 10th one is waiting for the final redemption, waiting for Mashiach. And we're told about Moshe Rabbeinu, Hu HaGoel HaRishon, Hu HaGoel HaAcharon. He is the first Redeemer. He is the last Redeemer. And according to tradition, the soul of Moshe will reincarnate along with David HaMelech in the soul of Mashiach. And we could see it actually in their names. The first 2 letters of Moshe are the exact same 2 letters of Mashiach, Mem, Shin. And in the blessing that Yaakov gives to Yehuda before he passes away, very symbolic. Anyone who has orchards of delight, go to Parshat Vayelech, and there's a whole article about this blessing from Yaakov to Yehuda. But part of it, and it's all about Yehuda, he is the future king. And from Yehuda comes David HaMelech, from David HaMelech comes Mashiach. But it says there, Ad Yavo Shiloh, until Shiloh comes. And this is a symbolic language, until Mashiach comes. But let's look at the gematria here. Shiloh is gematria Moshe. Yavo Shiloh is Gematria Mashiach. So here we have the fifth song that Moshe Rabbeinu is connected to, that he will be the at least part of the soul of Mashiach, and he will reveal the 10th archetypal song. So here we have a whole different view of Moshe Rabbeinu. He is the master of song. And we have in the Talmud, so they say that Moshe Rabbeinu knew how to sing the song of every creation, not just the sun and the moon. And this is a deep connection between Moshe and David being together in the soul of Mashiach, because according to tradition, it's David with, either by himself or with Shlomo HaMelech, his son, who wrote Perek Shira, who wrote this midrash of 70 archetypal nations, of creations, and the song that they sing. And we have a deep hint to this in the incident of the burning bush. So God comes to Moshe and says, I want you as the leader to lead Israel out of bondage. And Moshe begins, according to Rashi, a 7-day discussion, argument, dialogue with God about this role that is being put on Moshe. And here, this is where he doesn't say he has uncircumcised lips, but he says, I don't know how to talk. I'm not a speaker. But in this conversation, so God, in a sense, is trying to bring out Moshe's potential and give him the surety and the courage that he has it within him to be the leader. Moshe is trying to draw out of God. So he says, when I go back to the people, who should I tell them sent me? Like, who are you? What is your name? Who do I tell them sent me? So God reveals a name that's only revealed one time in the entire Tanakh. Ekia Asher Ekia. I will be that I will be. And then he says, tell them that Ekia sent you. It's the only time that this name appears. Actually, the name Ekia appears 3 times, but the name I will be that I will be is 1 time. And we're told that this name is so special, its full significance will not be revealed until Mashiach comes. But here we see a numerical gem. So everyone points out that the name Moshe, if you take the letters backwards, spells out Hashem. Mem Shin He, He Shin Mem. So Moshe and Hashem are like a mirror image. And we know that later the Torah says a number of times that God speaks to Moshe either face to face or mouth to mouth, panim el panim or peh el peh. So again, the idea of a direct parallel relationship. But here we see it in a numerical gem as well. Ekia asher ekia, I will be that I will be, equals 543. The inverse number is of 543 is 345. 345 is Gematria Moshe. So here, God is revealing this very special name, I will be that I will be. But in a sense, he was trying to bring out that same energy in Moshe. Moshe, you can be who you can be. You have it in you. And so here we see in verse Numbers the deep connection between this name of God and Moshe. But Rav Ginsburg goes one step further and says that the numerical value of this name, I will be that I will be, equals koach shira, the power of song. I will be that I will be equals the power of song. And that helps us very much understand the great power of music, the great power of song in bringing out a person's deeper instincts, deeper emotions. We all know how certain music, certain songs can make us cry and can make us dance. There's a tremendous power of song, koach shira. And this is what helps us become who we can become. I will be that I will be. So Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur are coming. Sukkot is coming. And the prayers of these days are so elevated, so glorious. But there's no doubt what adds to them is what's called nusach. There's a certain, and there's many different, nusach means a way of singing or chanting the prayers. And so there are many communities, many different types of ways that we chant the prayers. But all of them have special nusach for Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, and there's a special nusach for holidays. So there's no doubt that if we went to shul, to synagogue, and we only said the words of Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, there would be something so intrinsically deep missing. So much of the inspiration on Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, Sukkot, Simchas Torah is coming from the music. It's coming from the song. And obviously on Rosh Hashanah, we're trying to give birth to ourselves. It's not just that God is giving birth to the world again. We need to give birth to ourselves. And here, one of the most powerful ways is through the prayers of Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur and Sukkot, and it's through the chanting, the nusach, the music of these days that potentially lift us to the highest level. So I want to bless everyone to pick a good shul to go to on Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, and Sukkot, a shul that will present the prayers and will get the whole congregation involved in singing these beautiful, beautiful prayers. And we should all be uplifted, and we should all become who we can become.